I built this mass crafting system behind me in my last episode, and we got to play with it a little bit. I was able to make a whole bunch of pistons and hoppers, but I kind of ran out of time and didn't get to play with it too much. And I want to do a little bit more testing around with it. I want to put it through a real challenge. I want to make a shulker box of dispensers. So first of all, I've learned something since my last episode. I didn't realize it until Astazora pointed it out. It has to do with this switch right here, input gridlock on, input gridlock off. I had no idea what that did. But when it's on, it will actually hold this grid right here. So if I put items in there, it's going to hold them right there. And it won't let them through. And that will prevent the issue that I had last episode where I put 2 boxes of cobblestone into the same slot. And it caused some bad things to happen. And so with the input gridlock on, I can set up all my items and then I can release the gridlock all at the same time and prevent that problem. But first, let's follow the sign and make sure our recipe is correct. Make sure we have a recipe. So I don't think I do for bows. Maybe I do already. Yep, I actually do have one for bows already. So that one should be good. And let's make sure I got the items in my thing so we can actually make sure that we're crafting that correctly. Should be 3 sticks, 3 string. And my button is wrong. Okay, there we go. There's a bow right there. And I think it's probably going to be a good idea to slow this one down to half speed. And then let's go ahead and open up the gridlock. And let's craft a bunch of, this is going to make like 40 shulker boxes or something like that. It's going to be ridiculous. Let's craft a bunch of bows. All right, so that was pretty darn successful. I got a whole bunch of bows here. I got one random bow that ended up there. That's just something that seems to happen from time to time. I think I actually need to unload the last shulker there. And then I've already checked my recipe here. So that one's all set. And let's just load this one up with all these shulker boxes of bows. It should let some of them through. Apparently not. No. Okay. That's kind of weird. We might have to unlock the grid. This one's got extras, so let's go ahead and plop that one down, put that last bow in there, and then we'll unlock the grid and then load up the rest of these. Because I've loaded up everything else. We're all good to go there. So let's unlock the grid, and we can just put all the rest of these through. And let's slow this down even further, because otherwise my inventory is going to fill up with bows. And also I want to make sure that I don't accidentally craft droppers, which is a real easy thing to have happen with item scroller. So yeah, all right, let's craft up a bunch of dispensers. Hopefully this goes well. Something has gone wrong. I'm not getting any bows. I got some bows initially, and then I'm not getting any more. I don't know what's going on there. They are all apparently stuck in this dropper right here. For some reason, this piston isn't extended despite the redstone signal. I don't know why that happened. Very strange. Seems to be good now. It must have got some quasi signal or something like that. All right, that should do it. We should be back to normal now. I don't know what in the world happened. I am still missing a lot of bows. I've made 2 rows of dispensers, basically. There's a few droppers there. And there's a few droppers here. If anything, I should have extra bows, but I'm completely out of bows. It's not spitting bows out anymore. I've got a couple shulker boxes of cobblestone here, and it's completely out of bows. I don't know where they all went. All right, this one's on me. There's a second output chest. There's a whole bunch of bows. Right there. There's all my bows. Let's throw them down in here. Oh, I've made a big old mess. A little bit of a bumpy road, but we did manage to get there. I mean, even with the issues that I had, most of which were my own fault, that's still a lot easier than handcrafting or even regular item scroller crafting a shulker box. I mean, that was pretty easy, even with the issues that I had. We managed to get 7 droppers out of it. So I got 7 extra bows here, 8 extra because I crafted an extra one. So I'll just go grab some cobblestone and some redstone and craft the last little one, and we've got a shulker box full of droppers. That's pretty awesome. And this is probably one of the hardest things that this thing would have to craft. Oh, how you doing? Anything special? Not really. But yeah, so shulker boxes of the dispensers. That's all. Would you get out of my way? What is with these guys? Hey! He's activating the... Get out of there! Go. I've been working on my floating island in creative for the past several days. I was hoping to get this entire quarter section here done, but I've been working on it for a few days now, and I've got less than half of it done. There's still a lot more that needs to be done, but it's a good section. It's progress, and I've got to film for the episode at some point. So let's get that built, and then I guess we'll just have to come back to it and come back to it and come back to it. It's a big island. It's a little bit bigger than I first expected, even when I knew it was going to be big. This thing is gigantic, and it takes a lot of time to plan out all the underside of this floating island, but I'm going to keep working at it. Let's start with this section right here. This section took an immense amount of work. It was really ambitious to try and do the full quarter in one episode. It's just too much work, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to figure out something to break it down into smaller pieces or something like that, because I really want to get this island done. I think it's starting to look really great. It's just not finished. And it just takes so much work to get it that way. But I'd like to see it done. I mean, I think it's gonna look really great when it's done. But at least we've got some work done. I mean, this is a pretty decent strip right here. There's still a lot more to go just on this quarter, and then there's the other half of the floating island. So it's a long road, but I really want to see this done. I think it's going to look fantastic when it's done. So I'll keep working at it. So Astazora is working on a giant kelp farm, and he wants to use dark prismarine for the structure of the thing. And I don't even know what the numbers are, but I think we needed an AFK like 17 hours at the Guardian farm to get like 600,000 prismarine shards or something like that. And then we need a whole bunch of ink, and we're not actually sure how long we're going to have to AFK for that, because the rates on this changed in 1.6. They actually got better because Mojang changed the mob cap, and now squids have their own mob caps. So this actually improved the rates of this farm right here. But the storage is pretty pathetic. It's just hoppers feeding into 4 shulker boxes here. And up until this point, that's been fine. I've never needed more than 4 shulker boxes of ink. That's actually quite a lot of ink. And this has worked fine. And this is like a half an hour, maybe an hour of AFK, somewhere around there. It's a pretty fast farm, but the storage needs a serious upgrade if we're going to AFK for much longer. So this is ripe for, all I got to do is set up a shulker box loader here. And that should be a pretty quick change. And then we'll be able to AFK overnight. And we should get close in an overnight. I think we should get pretty close to what he needs for his dark prismarine. And then I'm also going to go over to the Guardian farm. And that one's going to need a slight storage upgrade there as well. But let's start with the ink sacs here. All right, it's a little hard to see because I switched it over to black glass, but it seemed appropriate for the ink farm. So if we come down here, we can see I've got a double speed shulker box loader here. Shulker boxes are coming in here. I actually AFK'd for a little bit while I was eating. I tested this out in creative. This thing gets 16,000 items per hour. So it does need a double speed shulker box loader, because that's what I wanted to find out. Also, Asta needs 80,000 ink, it turns out. And so we will be able to get that in just 5 hours of AFK. So a single overnight will give Asta everything he needs, plus quite a bit extra. So I will probably be doing that tonight. So we put the empty shulker boxes in this box up here, and then all the extras come down here. This is plenty of storage for a long AFK session, and that part's all set. Now, as far as the Guardian farm goes, the storage for this was built back when I had about 60 shulker boxes that would actually stay here at the farm. And so, like, you would craft the items up, you would take the shulker boxes back there, load up those shulker box loaders, and I had a finite number of shulker boxes, so 60 was about all I could spare that I would actually just leave here at the farm. And so the storage is only capable of handling about 2 to 3 hours of AFK, which was pretty decent at the time. Usually I would AFK for about 2 hours, craft everything up, and then go back to AFKing, and that worked pretty well for me. And you get like 2 shulker boxes of sea lanterns per hour, so that's pretty decent, and it's been fine up until now. But now Asta needs a whole bunch of dark prismarine, and so I need much beefier storage than what we have right here. So this elevator, this item elevator back here, there's not much room to expand it up. But I realized, why do I have a regular dropper-based item elevator when I could just spit the shulker boxes into water? I can actually run the water column back behind here, run it up above that, and then run them over here, and I wouldn't have all these hoppers. This is actually a pretty expensive system that I've got here, and a water column would actually be a lot cheaper and would give me an opportunity to have a lot more storage up here. And there's not really much of a downside because, like I said, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So it shouldn't be too hard to do that. Another thing I want to do is I want to swap out these shulker box loaders. This is my old shulker box loader, and now I have the accessible shulker box loader. It doesn't really matter for this farm because it loads up items really quick, but I just like that shulker box loader a lot more. This one's kind of ugly, so I think I'll swap that one over as well. All right, so there we have some very upgraded storage for our Guardian farm down there. Each of these double chests is something like 2.5 hours of storage for the prismarine shards, and it's over double that for the prismarine crystals. So this should be something like 20 plus hours of AFK storage for that. So that should get Asta what he needs. And if anyone is interested, I will put a schematic of this upgraded storage down in the description. If you've already made your Guardian storage and you don't need all this extra storage, there's probably no reason to upgrade just yet. But if somebody were building it fresh or something like that, so I'll probably put a schematic in my Guardian farm tutorial as well for this upgraded storage, because this is actually cheaper, and as 1.17 comes in, more people are going to have access to unlimited shulkers through vanilla Minecraft. So something like this actually might start to make more sense. So while I was at it, another thing I did was that I grabbed a bunch of raw cod. I just waited to put the lava in there, and I stood there for a little bit because raw cod is one of the items I was missing a shulker box of, and I don't want to set up a full storage for it because, like, who cares about raw cod really? But I wanted to grab a shulker box of it. I've got the rest of this back at my base, so that'll be nice to have. But yeah, that should help out Asta quite a bit. So I ended up actually AFKing at this farm while I was working on my floating island because Astazora doesn't have super reliable internet, so he didn't really have an opportunity to AFK it. So I've done that for him. I've been here AFK for quite a while now, and this storage is completely full all the way up to this top chest right here. Even this hopper, I've probably had a couple shulker boxes land on that hopper and just despawn. And then over on the other side, we're into the 4th double chest of prismarine crystals. And that's awesome because if it can get up to 5 double chests of prismarine crystals, that is a double chest of shulker boxes of sea lanterns. And I think that'd be really cool. So I might want to do that at some point in the near future because I think that'd be pretty cool. But in the meanwhile, I need to get all these prismarine shards over to Astazora. And what I want to do is I want to stack them. Instead of putting them in a chest all neat and tidy, I want to just make a giant stack. This is over 400 shulker boxes of prismarine shards. I just want to make a big pile. See how big that pile is? And make Astazora have to pickaxe them all. Make him have to work for it a little bit. That should be a lot of fun. So this is what some 400 some odd shulker boxes look like. Just a giant pile of shulker boxes. I put a beacon on top just to taunt him. And there's a real beacon base, just a small beacon base, enough to create a beam that's buried just underneath it. I wanted to do that. I just thought it looked cool. It kind of looked like a beacon while I was setting it up. I was going to color all these shulker boxes, but he's just going to take them all and craft them down into the prismarine. It just was a waste of dye, so I just left them the default color. But this is I like 400,000 prismarine shards, 500,000 prismarine shards. It's a lot of prismarine shards. And then over here with this much smaller pile, looks pathetic by comparison. This is actually 50 shulker boxes of ink sacs. It's actually a pretty impressive pile right there. But this thing kind of puts it to shame. But he's just going to take all of this to my base and use my mass crafter that I set up in my last episode. So bringing it here made no sense. It made sense to either take it to my base or leave it where it was. But I thought this was funnier. So enjoy your gift, Asta. Now that I've helped Astazora get all that dark prismarine, I'd like to do something for myself. I've been running out of ice very, very quickly, and I'd like to AFK this ice farm. I recently set up a whole bunch of pickaxes, so I can AFK this for a really, really long time, but the storage here is kind of miserable. I set this up a really long time ago, and it's never really worked quite properly. Like, for example, it hasn't dispensed a shulker box this time, so I don't know why that happened, but this thing breaks kind of often, and there's not really any access to get down here and fix it. And since I built this, after that, I came up with the accessible shulker box loader. And I think that's going to be a much better fit for the storage for this thing. So like the ink farm, this should be a fairly quick switch over. Just want to switch this over to the accessible shulker box loader, set up myself up a little platform down here so we can fly down onto it. And I think that'll work a lot better. Incidentally, I think Astazora actually needs quite a bit of ice as well. So this will benefit him as well. But he's going to have to AFK here himself. I need all the ice I can get. While I was out here, I figured I might as well set up storage for the vine farm as well, because that one was just a couple of double chests. It was real basic storage. It's a pretty slow farm. It gets like 1 or 2 shulker boxes per hour, but we've got some shulker box loaders here, and I figured a vine wall was a pretty nice way to get up and down between the shulker loaders, and it's on theme, and it looked pretty nice. And I had the vines right here. So here we've got the storage for the ice farm. I actually AFK'd this thing overnight, and it looks like we're getting about 6 shulker boxes per hour, about 10,000 ice per hour. There are definitely faster ones out there, and I will probably build them at some point in the future. But this is pretty nice. This is a lot of ice. This is just barely enough, I think, to make a shulker box of blue ice. We haven't used blue ice for anything just yet, so I'm not too worried about it. I do need a decent amount of packed ice, though, and this will get me a few shulker boxes of packed ice with plenty of regular ice to spare. And then the vine wall comes up here, and we can actually get back up if there's not phantoms all over the place. I don't think I have a weapon either. I have an axe. I didn't bring my bow or anything like that. Oh my god. Come on, phantoms. You guys are the worst. Come on. There we go. And back up to the ice farm. Again, I AFK'd overnight so we can see the pickaxes that I went through. I think it's about 3 pickaxes per hour. It's not too bad. And you actually get to keep the pickaxes, so if they have mending, you can repair them. So down here, the 2 rows were already there, so I made, in about 12 hours, I made that many broken pickaxes. So that's not too bad, actually, considering all the ice that I got out of it. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I got a decent amount of ice, and I got some better storage for my ice farm, and I'm getting mauled by phantoms. I think it's time to build a building around this mass crafting system that I built in my last episode. I was looking at the machine itself, and it's not large enough to be a skyscraper, not unless there's a bunch of empty space up above it, which isn't really something that I want to do. So instead, I was looking at it, and the first thing that came to my mind was mid-rise apartments, which is you can do a modernish mid-rise apartment, should fit the theme of everything around here, and should be just about the perfect shape and size for this machine right here. So I did some planning, creative, and I've come up with a mid-rise apartment building that we can put around that. So let's get it built. And there we have it. We got a nice little mid-rise apartment here. I spent quite a lot of time in creative on this one. This one was kind of difficult for me. The color palette especially, I wanted to use colors and blocks that I hadn't used anywhere else on my floating island, and I've succeeded there. I've not used any of these blocks anywhere else. Funny thing about these blocks, I didn't realize until I went to go collect them, all of the terracotta colors here are naturally forming colors of terracotta. We got white, light gray, brown, and regular terracotta. I didn't have to dye any terracotta. I didn't realize that when I was designing it. It wasn't until I went to go collect all the terracotta that I'm like, hey, that's kind of funny. So yeah, I think this building works pretty well. I think the details are what breathe the life into this thing. It's kind of a bland, boring building, and the palette kind of didn't work until I started adding all the details, because there's a lot of this white terracotta. It's kind of a bland block. But when you add all the details, you've got like porch furniture and stuff like that, the flowers on the planters on the side of the building. Like, I think this just like makes it like a living, breathing building. And I think it makes a huge difference in how the building looks. And, just all these details just kind of bring it into life. And one other thing is that up here, oh yeah, there's the top of the building, first of all. If you saw, there's a duck. This has happened since I built this. I haven't say hi to Bobby. I've got Bobby the duck. Okay. I'm not sure who did that, but it's funny. I'm guessing Carm. I think he likes making those kind of bird styles. That's kind of funny. So yeah, we've got a rooftop garden up here, and I think this also breathed a lot of life into it. And it's even got like air conditioners and stuff, and a fenced-in area back here, and then roof access. This doesn't actually go anywhere. So it was important that it looked like you could actually get up onto the roof and come up here, and there's benches and a picnic table and a little grill here. And yeah, I think this gives it a nice atmospheric element. And then the top floor of this, I actually made this a floor taller than it needed to be. Come on. Because it looked better that way, but also it gave me the opportunity to actually give it an apartment floor plan. So I haven't put any furniture on the inside just yet. I just moved in here. So this is the apartment floor plan. We got a pretty spacious looking living room, kind of an awkward shaped kitchen. Then back here, we've got the bedroom and a closet, and there's a little bathroom right here. So that's kind of nice. And there's actually two of these. So there's a little tiny hallway right here that we can go through into the other apartment that apparently spawns mobs. So have to look into the lighting on that. That's not great. How you doing? I'm trying to show people my apartment. Okay. Living room. The bedroom's back here in this corner. Closet over here. And then over on this side, that's where your kitchen is, and the little bathroom. So that's kind of nice. And then, like I said, there's a little hallway in between the two of them. Let me shut all these doors. And there's even a water elevator to get up and down between these. So I'll probably start putting some furniture in here at some point in the future. And we can get in and out through this door here on the side of the building. So yeah, I like this building quite a lot. I think it looks fantastic. So there's still a lot more that I want to do in my floating island. This building on my right, that is my nether wart farm. That one is going to be torn down and replaced with a runway attached to the hangar right there. I think that'll open up the space quite a bit and look really good. And there's obviously a lot more that needs to be done with the floating island itself, and there's still quite a bit of terrain that still needs to be done. But I wanted to do all that in one episode, but the floating island itself took me so long that I've run out of time. And unfortunately, we're going to have to do that. We'll break it up into more pieces, and we'll do it at a later date. But not in my next episode, because my next episode, we are very quickly reaching 1,000 subscribers. So my next episode is going to be a 1,000 subscriber special. And so thank you so much for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. I want to do something really special for it. The video will probably be out after I reach 1,000 subscribers, because I want to spend a little extra time on it, and I want to do something really big. And so my normal release schedule is every 6 days. Instead, this one's probably going to be about a week and a half from the release of this episode, because like I said, I want to do something really big. But in the meanwhile, more big news. I'm opening up a Patreon server. So the Patreon server will probably go online the day that I reach 1,000 subscribers, if not a day or two after that. And so if you want to join, then you join my Patreon at diamond level or above, and anybody who's at that level will be whitelisted onto that server. And so we're going to have a few mods, like we're going to have carpet mod with choker respawning and choker stacking and stuff like that. I'll post all the rules on my Patreon if you want to go and check the rules ahead of time. Make sure that it's something you want to do before you join. That's fine, but very excited. If you want to join at the ground level, if you want to be there on day one, now's the time to join because it should be starting within the week. So very excited about that. But thank you very much, guys, for watching. Thank you for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you again real soon for a 1,000 subscriber special. Bye now!